Imagine pulling someone straight out of the Stone Age, someone from 30,000 years ago. They've never seen a wheel, let alone a modern zoo turnstile. You walk them right past a gift shop selling cute, fluffy, plush lions, and you guide them toward the main exhibits alongside everyday families. Then you stop right in front of a massive glass wall. On the other side, a real full-grown lion is just lying in the sun, doing absolutely nothing. To be honest, their ancient brain would completely short-circuit. It literally does not know how to process what it's looking at. Because to bridge the gap between their world and ours, you have to realize one thing. What we see as a fun day out, they would see as pure sorcery. See, for this person, an apex predator isn't a weekend attraction. A lion is the terrifying reason you don't sleep alone at night. It is the literal thing that ends family bloodlines in seconds. In their world, encountering one meant immediate danger or death. But now you're casually telling them, "Hey, don't worry, it's totally fine. We're just gonna stand right here and watch it take a nap." It strips away every survival instinct they've ever known. This brings us to a fascinating question. Is the concept of a zoo brand new? What happens when you strip away our modern familiarity? Did ancient human civilizations actually do the exact same thing? Surprisingly, the answer is yes. Ancient humans did have zoos, but they definitely weren't built for the reasons you'd think. The oldest known exotic animal collection belonged to a Sumerian queen named Shubad. But the most famous early collection belonged to an Assyrian king around 650 BC. His name was King Ashurbanipal, and he ruled the empire from the city of Nineveh. Inside his palace walls, he locked up fierce lions, ostriches, and giant elephants. This wasn't for public entertainment. It was a massive display of dominance. If you could cage the very thing that could kill your subjects, you felt like a god. These weren't loved pets. They were trophies with a heartbeat. And Mesopotamia wasn't the only empire flexing its muscles this way. Centuries earlier, ancient Egypt did the exact same thing. Around 1500 BC, the powerful Queen Hatshepsut wanted to show off her wealth. She sent a massive trading expedition across the seas to the wealthy land of Punt. Her ships returned loaded with treasures from the edge of the known world. They paraded exotic giraffes and baboons right through the capital city of Thebes. Alongside leopards and rare incense trees, it was a massive spectacle. To the citizens watching, a giraffe wasn't just a unique, funny-looking animal. It was a clear political message. Look how far our queen's power stretches. Look at what terrifying things we can conquer and drag back to our home. So let's be clear. Nobody visited these early collections just because they were bored on a Saturday. Now, let's fast forward to the year 1519, over in the Americas. When the Spanish conquistador Hernán Cortés marched into the Aztec capital, what his soldiers saw stopped them completely dead in their tracks. The Aztec Emperor Moctezuma II kept a truly enormous zoo in the heart of the city. It housed terrifying jaguars, pumas, wolves, eagles, and venomous snakes. It was meticulously tended to by hundreds of expert staff whose sole job was animal care. There was a massive aviary for colorful birds and special areas for birds of prey. Europe had absolutely nothing like it. It was light years ahead of anything back home. Yet, tragically, within just 2 years, the Spanish burned the entire city to the ground. Centuries of accumulated animal knowledge and history vanished in a single afternoon. If you dropped our prehistoric time traveler into Moctezuma's zoo, they'd actually get it. They understood the concept. A powerful ruler locks up beasts to show absolute status. But what breaks their brain about the modern world is who gets to see them now. Today, entry to a zoo costs way less than a standard movie ticket. Think about that. An apex predator can be viewed on a Tuesday for the price of a sandwich. What used to be a display of royal dominance now has a designated stroller parking zone. The absolute symbol of ultimate imperial power has been turned into a basic school field trip. Our ancient traveler would think something went catastrophically wrong with our sense of danger. The daily casualness of it all completely shatters their worldview. But what about the animals inside? Let's flip to their side of the story. There is a deep psychological angle to captivity that almost nobody ever talks about. That lion resting lazily behind the glass enclosure is not acting like a real lion. It has never hunted, and its ancestors likely haven't hunted for generations either. Scientists call this state of mind learned helplessness. It leads to zoochosis, strange, repetitive pacing and behaviors unseen in the wild. They pace back and forth in their enclosures, trapped in an endless loop. Our ancient hunter wouldn't just see this behavior as simple modern boredom. They would read it as an omen, a sign that something is deeply spiritually wrong. In the ancient world, you did not want to stand near a creature acting this way. That was the kind of emergency that sent you running straight to a priest. But there is one major thing modern zoos do that would genuinely impress them. Good zoos manage global species survival plans to fight extinction across the world. They run advanced breeding programs that ancient empires never had the infrastructure to try. They brought back species like the iconic California Condor from the absolute brink. They saved the black-footed ferret, breeding them carefully in safety. And Przewalski's horse, which survived only in captivity before being released back into the wild. An ancient human would instantly connect with this struggle for survival. Keeping a herd alive across a terrible winter or disaster is a foundational human concept. It's just standard survival farming, but scaled up to protect the entire planet's wildlife. They would deeply respect spending massive resources just to keep a species from vanishing forever. But it still leaves us with a deep question. Does total control break something sacred? For most of human history, hunting a dangerous animal was an act soaked in intense ritual. Hunters from Siberia to the Kalahari always stopped to apologize directly to the animal's spirit. The relationship was deeply adversarial, but it was never, ever disrespectful. A zoo completely removes that sacred relationship and leaves only the act of staring. That is the exact part an ancient human would find almost impossible to process. For ages, looking an apex predator directly in the eyes meant someone was about to die. Now, it simply means you're waiting around for your kid to finish eating their churro. You can hold that intense stare for as long as you want, with absolutely zero stakes. No danger, no ritual, no consequence. You just turn around and walk away. So what would they ultimately think? It would be a profound mix of absolute awe and horror. Because turning this level of danger into a lunch break is an unbelievable display of human power. It's way more impressive than ancient kings because it's open to normal families for free. And horror, because somewhere in that transaction, the primal fear and respect got lost. Maybe that's the real story of the zoo. We didn't just learn how to build cages. What we actually built was massive distance between ourselves and the wild. We made enough distance to comfortably tuck an apex predator between the reptile house and the food court. Next time you're standing at an enclosure, remember what that moment used to mean. For nearly all of human history, that exact stare was the very last thing people ever saw. But today, You're just watching it take a nap.